You have it. And record it. Thank you. Sherry, the county executive is not coming, correct?
He actually is going to try to come. So there's like 5 or 6 events tonight. So he has the link.
Okay.
And he said he was going to try to pop in at some point. So whenever he comes on, and if I see his phone number pop up, I'll let you know.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to, are you going to be on the whole time? Do you want to give the county report and then we'll
Sure.
go to the village?
You want me? Okay.
Go right ahead.
Hi, everybody. I think I know everybody, but just in case, I'm Sherry Rosen-Asher, and I am the Director of Policy and Programs for Small Business in the Chambers of Commerce for Westchester County and the County Executive. So I split my time between doing a lot of community outreach and advocacy work for the County Executive and working with the Office of Economic Development. And I spend a lot of time in meetings like this. They used to be in person, although Darcy and I just came from in person at Sleepy Hollow. It's never happened before that you guys have had your meetings on the same night. So that's not that complicated for me. Come on down the river. But I do live in Dobbs Ferry. And so this is my hometown chamber. And basically what I try to do is to make sure that I funnel as much information as possible, especially for the last 18 months when things were changing, so furiously and no one knew what was going on. And sometimes I send something out at 9 in the morning and I have to send something out at 3 in the afternoon because things change. But there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of different guidance and regulations and things like that. And it could get very confusing. So I can help any one of you and any other business owners that to just try to make sense of some of it, and also to connect you with people who can help you if you have particular issues. I think that most people don't realize how much the county does. And for many of us, we don't really come into contact with a lot of what the county did pre-COVID. We may not ride the Beeline buses, and hopefully we don't have anybody who's in the prison, and we may not be going to the Department of Social Services. But during the pandemic, we had 180-degree turn of what we were doing. And so we worked to help the restaurants, to help the businesses. Right now, the county executive is busy crisscrossing the county, giving out masks to schools. So child-sized masks and adult-sized masks to make sure that everybody's safe. The county has no jurisdiction over the school districts, but it's just, we wanted to make sure that everybody got what they needed. We gave out hundreds of thousands of PPE to businesses, nursing homes, senior centers, housing developments, things like that. We've done things to not only help to bring the chambers together, but also to bring the municipalities together, which I'm sure the mayor could speak about more than I can. But it's really George Latimer's focus is very much on building a cohesive Westchester and trying to see that we're all working together to help each other. Every municipality has their own concerns, but basically there's a lot that is very common in what everybody's doing. So whether it's direct grants to the chamber, which this chamber has received a couple of grants, and in addition also received the Community Table Partnership grants to businesses. We're going to be doing grants to not-for-profits. We've also helped set up webinars to help explain the state grant program. I think we have one coming up this Friday. We've done things in English and Spanish. We could do them in other languages if it's necessary. We work very closely with the SBA. Recently, I've been working very closely with FEMA to make sure that the businesses that were devastated by Hurricane Ida get what they need and get the information that they need. So I have a direct contact with FEMA now as well. So I'm here, I'm a resource. I live right in Dobbs Ferry. I'm running in Dobbs Ferry for Board of Trustees. I really think that it's important that that the businesses and the local governments, work together. And that is a direct result of working for the past 3.5 years for George Latimer and seeing, his vision for the county. So I'm here for you. Reach out to me anytime.
Thank you, Sherry. And before we take any quick questions, I just want to mention, Sherry kind of touched on it, but she's running for board of trustee this year, and George Latimer's seat is up again, and her position was established because of George Latimer being elected. And even before COVID, she was very involved in the business community, and it's been great to have a relationship with the county and discussions on what's good for business, because it's good for everyone. So, you know, the chamber doesn't in the past doesn't necessarily endorse candidates. The board's position has always been, we'll work with whoever's elected, but I just want to put it out there as a business owner, that, you know, you can support them in other ways. You could help post fundraisers, postcard writing. I know we hosted a postcard, you know, event for George Latimer some years ago at Harper's, you know, or other things. Like, I know, Sherry, I know I owe you a letter, and I'm working on it. So there are ways that you guys businesses themselves can support these individuals, you know, not even from a partisan position, really. I mean, as somebody from the chamber and from a business, I mean, I can't tell you the things that they've done behind the scenes. They have been a real partner, and I would really like for this relationship to continue. I think it's really good for the businesses in Westchester. So
can we say as individuals, if I lived in Dobbs Ferry, I would vote for her? And
yeah, I mean,
not on behalf of the chamber.
Right.
Definitely.
No, I don't want to stir the pot, and I don't want to mix, you know, my government role with my political. Thank you so much. I really do enjoy what I'm doing. And Michelle is right that this position didn't exist before. It was created because George said, do you think you could do something with the chambers? And I was like, let's see what I can do. So, and it's been, you know, that's where my 30 years of sales came into play. George likes to say that he and I are the only ones on the executive team who have sales experience. And so we have a very similar way of thinking about how to, you know, listen to what people need and things like that. But it has been, you know, really the most incredible experience to have this job. So I appreciate it. I will, you know, appreciate anything and everything, and I'll be happy to talk offline with anyone about that. So thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, yes. Any questions for Sherry before we move on to Mayor Kabulian? Going once.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Sherry. I'm Caitlin Rogerson from Eyes on Hudson, and I was wondering if you know of any resources for businesses that had the misfortune of opening in 2020.
Yeah, you know, one of the catches of all the money that's out there is that you had to have existed prior to 2020. One of the things I would suggest that you could do is to reach out to the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center. So the gentleman that I am in contact with there is Clarence Stanley. He runs the SBDC out of Lehman College in the Bronx, but his territory is Westchester and the Bronx. And so they have a lot of programs and information to help small businesses at every level. We just did a webinar called Capital Connections, the Lending Landscape, and it was about access to capital. So one of the PowerPoint slides had a whole thing that showed the size of your business and where your business is at and what are the kinds of things that you need. I will say that most of the help that's available is more loans than it is grants if you need money. If you're looking for mentors or advisors or things like that, then, you know, reach out to me and I can connect you with, we have a whole advisory network through the county of people that can help. And we also had a program called Westchester Rises, which was really about businesses that needed to kind of shift during COVID and do things in a different way. But I don't specifically know of anything for things that opened in 2020. But I'll look into it for you. And if I find anything, I'll certainly let you know. But I would say look into the SBDC. And even the SBA, like they have tons of programs. So not only they have like their COVID relief, and then now they also have their Hurricane Ida relief, but in general, the SBA has a ton of different programs and very low interest loans. The other thing I would suggest, there's an organization in Westchester called SCORE, which is an organization of retired professionals who donate their time, and they work to help advise business owners and professionals and kind of give them the help that they need to see what it is. Like, is it a marketing issue? Is it a website issue? Is it an inventory issue? So they could be very helpful also.
So, and on that note, I think, Alan, I know we put it in our last county email that we just sent, but I don't know if we put it on the website, the webinar that you referenced, Sherry. But we have a resource page on the Chamber website where we share like everything that Sherry sends to us and other people, but a lot of it is thanks to Sherry. And so in addition to kind of announcing these things in emails, we've created a page on the website where all of this stuff will live. And there is a lot of stuff on there already, and we're continually looking at it and adjusting it. And Alan just put the link in the chat to that that webinar if you wanted to.
And I just want to welcome Alan. I'm very happy to see him. I knew him in his previous position, and I'm thrilled. So.
Thank you. I guess, yeah, I have that on old business, just, talking about staff, but thank you for giving that segue. So if there are no other questions for Sherry, I will now introduce Mayor Nancy Kapolian. It's Ardsley's turn on the meeting routine, but it's good timing because Ardsley has a great event coming up in October, and I'm sure lots of other things. So take it away, Mayor.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate being here. I want to welcome Alan. Alan lives in Ardsley, and Alan has been a very active member of our Multicultural Diversity and Inclusion Committee and has volunteered his time here in the village. So I am happy to see that he is now a part of the chamber and will work with the village to bring us all together even a little closer and better connections going forward. So congratulations, Alan, on your position. I wish you the best of luck. I want to thank Sherry, and I would thank the county executive if he was here, but I want to echo what Sherry said about the county executive and about his administration. And Sherry, also, this administration under County Executive Latimer has been all-inclusive. Since the beginning of COVID, the county executive has held conference calls with municipalities. At the beginning of COVID, it was weekly. We are now twice a month, but it really was to share information with all municipalities about everything, about the numbers, about the businesses, about the loans, about what was happening. I mean, it was an invaluable source for all of us in smaller municipalities where we would have to run around and try to find stuff. The county helped us and helped provide this information and helped all of us answer questions and ask questions, so that here in the river towns, where the mayors of the river towns often get together on a monthly basis before COVID, where we talk collectively, this was on a countywide basis, and it was really invaluable. And it's continuing today, not just with COVID. Now we're dealing with, the fallout from Hurricane Ida, and businesses here in Ardsley, several of them had very, big problems. Lenincio's was closed for almost 2 weeks because of a flood in their basement. Tom's Trains was closed. I mean, we had some real devastation downtown, but the county executive and the county executive's administration came through, had a meeting and said, look, we're going to get FEMA information out to you. We're going to put this out there. We're going to send it to you. You could share it with your municipalities. You could share it with your residents. And that's a real big help for a village that like Ardsley, that works on a very lean staff, that we're able to take the information that the county puts together and provides to us, and we can get it out to our residents. And then when the residents have a question, I could go back to the county and say, what do we do? How do we do this? What do we need? What do I tell them? Where could I direct them? It's really an unbelievable collaborative, workings across the county. And he and his entire staff should be applauded on how we are working through COVID and hurricanes and floods. And it seems like, locusts are coming any day now. I'm just going to hide under my desk when that happens. But anyhow, on to Ardsley. I don't know if all of you know this, but Ardsley is going through a slight transition at the moment. So our village manager, Meredith Robson, who was with the village for 7 years, decided to leave us and go across the county. I'm not so sure. She's so happy now that Mamaroneck is probably underwater, but she went to become the town administrator for the town of Mamaroneck. And her last day here was at the end of July, which has left us in a little bit of a flux because obviously we are now in searching for a village manager. We were very fortunate to hire an interim village manager who came right out of Dobbs Ferry, and we hired Charlene Indelicato. And Charlene has been with us, and it's been great because Charlene is so experienced that she's able to pick up the ball and work with us. However, she's an interim manager, and so there are some things that are just sort of, in suspense as we move forward. And one of those is really the implementation of our comp plan. While we, we passed the comp plan earlier this year, and we were very excited to get it moving. But, COVID spiked a little bit, our manager left, and so it slowed up things a little bit. But we did meet with PACE actually last month, and we walked the entire village. PACE Land Use was instrumental in helping us finalize our comp plan. And we, started the conversation of what priorities we want to see in the village. So we are moving forward on the implementation of our comp plan. And I'm happy about that. I think we'll be in a good place when we finally hire a new manager to really move this forward into the next step. Another, achievement that we just achieved is we became a bronze certified community with the Climate Smart Community. So that's pretty exciting. We worked hard to get that. And so we just got that notification from the governor. So we're very happy about that. And even in all of this, with the flooding and COVID, we have new businesses coming. And that's really cool too. So we have a new children's art studio coming in the new building that is where the wash and dry is, on that downstairs level there. So that's really exciting. 3 American Legion, which is the building that's next to the library. If anybody knows Ardsley, it's on American Legion Drive, was purchased by a doctor, probably 3 years ago, with the intention of renovating that building and having accessory businesses in there to his chiropractor business. And then, COVID hit, and even renovating the building at this point has become a little more problematic, because I understand getting supplies is difficult, getting contractors is difficult, but he has started the renovation of that building. And so we're excited to see that new business move into the village soon. And the eyesore of Ardsley, the Westchester Garage, was finally sold after 20 years. It now has a new owner who it will be bringing offices in an, I think they're like a piping or heating business, but it's going to be their executive offices here. They have long-term plans to knock that building down or renovate the building and build 3 or 4 stories on top of it. So we're excited to work on that. That will all be encompassed as part of our comp plan to bring development and housing and to the downtown area, which we think is going to help revitalize our downtown area. We sometimes it's like a juggling act. We were sort of moving forward with a lot of things, and right now we're just moving a little bit slower than we would normally move, but I think we still have great momentum. The board of directors is very motivated to, get our comp plan moving forward. We have ideas for renovating Pascone Park, which is one of our nicest parks over off of Ashford by our middle school. Our other big park is McDowell Park, where the ball fields are. And as you mentioned, we are having our 125th anniversary of incorporation on October 10th. We'll have food trucks and music and a bubble truck, and we bring out the fire trucks, the police cars, and the ambulances, and we let the kids touch the trucks. We have lots of activities for the kids, so you're all welcome to come. We did decide not to make it a business event, to really make it a village event, and not to invite the businesses, because that got a little bit more complicated with things. And, as we were talking about a little bit earlier on in the meeting, it's hard to get people to help volunteer to do things. And so we did what we could do moving forward. But you see our signs up, our 125th anniversary signs, and we have our banners. We'll be selling cards. The kids in the school did a flag contest, and we selected flags that represent Ardsley. We had note cards made out of them that will be sold. And so I think it's going to be exciting. Going forward, I hope to, get back into our holding our events with our multicultural committee. Our CEAC, our environmental committee, is very active. I hope to go from bronze to silver in the next year, and that's very exciting. And I hope in the next month or so, we'll be announcing the hiring of a new village manager. So these are all exciting things, but they all take time. And, some of us have full-time jobs on the side. My full-time job on the side. Some people go, "You work?" It's like, yes, I actually have a full-time job too. And just a plug for myself, if you happen to live in Ardsley, this is election year for me too. I'm running for my 3rd term. I do believe this will be my final term. I have made that every indication. But it's been an honor to serve for 4 years, and I look forward to serving for another 2 years. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the mayor? Where's the Westchester garage that you mentioned? What?
Can't miss it. It's the eyesore in the middle of the village. So it's on 9A. It's next to the shop. So when you're looking at the shop, it's the building to the right of the shop. It was an old gas station that closed. I am living in the village since 1994. I believe that gas station operated in 1993 for the very last time. The building was, am I right, Patty?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, they shut down, and the building has been abandoned since 1993.
But they did a nice thing with the way they put all that chain link fence up around it.
It looks
That
lovely.
really looked great in the downtown.
But didn't they shoot Wolf of Wall Street? Didn't they shoot some Wolf of Wall Street there? Yeah.
They did shoot Wolf
Yeah,
of Wall
okay.
Street
Mhm.
there. There was a couple of other movies shot
Yeah.
there. From the outside of the building, if it had been maintained a little bit, it's kind of a cool looking building.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be saved. I think the building is in such poor condition that it might not have the capability to support floors on top of it. So it might have to be torn down. But you know what? We have a comp plan now. We have zoning changes, and all of this is going to be factored into moving forward with buildings and construction in our downtown area.
It's
we're
too
excited.
bad because it has this cool retro vibe. It'd be
It does have a
like
cool
taco
retro
place
vibe.
or like burger place or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it does have a cool retro vibe.
I think there's some cool things that can be done with that, with building above. It's really not that hard to do.
You know what? I'm going to leave it to you to come over and find out who owns it.
We'll see.
Give them their ideas, okay?
You
I
got
can
it.
hook you up with the people who bought it. So,
Yeah, that's kind of already happened, I think.
all right. I mean, I'm excited to see that, just getting rid of the chain link fence there will be a big take. And, and then we have on the other side, Carvel has been purchased by a local, well, she no longer lives in the village, but she did live in the village for many years. She sold her house and she moved to Yonkers, but she purchased the Carvel franchise and has really done a fabulous job renovating the store. It's, you know, it's so exciting to actually go down there and see people waiting online to get Carvel. And for me, I don't have to hold my nose because the subway smell was still in the store from, you know, 10 years ago. So it's exciting to see that. However, across the street from that, we have yet another vacant spot. And unfortunately, that spot is in litigation. The village has been sued over the zoning board's decision there, and that litigation is ongoing. So it's that's going to be a while before we can do anything with that spot or get anything going there. But you know, incremental changes are happening. Getting the comp plan in place, you know, was a big step in this process. We didn't have a comp plan for 30 years, so this was an important first step. And you know, as much as I'd like to see change overnight, we all recognize that change comes as you work hard and slowly, and it's never fast enough for our residents. Never fast enough. No one is ever going to be happy with the speed.
But at the same time, it's always much faster than the neighborhood and the community wants it to happen. Depends on which side of that bench you're sitting on. I don't get complaints that we're taking too long. I get complaints we're moving too fast. So
I get complaints, Dobbs Ferry's doing this. Why can't we do this?
We totally get it at the chamber. Our thing, I say this all the time, is we're going to do what we can when we can with what we have, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, you know, I was more impatient when I first started doing this, and I understand how, you know, you have to have patience. So we did this whole project on Heatherdale this year, where we put a whole sidewalk in and a guide rail down Heatherdale. It's from Heatherdale to American Legion. If you come down, it's right behind the Apple Motor Inn, because years ago there used to be trees there, and the trees all came down. Now the buses come down that hill, and it became somewhat of a concern that was a safety factor as the buses came down that hill. So we had it looked at, and the engineer said, well, you really should put in a guide rail. So we put in a guide rail, and in doing that, we said, okay, let's change the fence then. Let's make it look nicer. And so we selected this lovely fence to put in. Unfortunately, for some reason, that's not available because we can't get the fencing material. So, you know, now we're looking at, you know, an unfinished thing, which should have been finished 6 months ago. And, you know, every time I drive by it, I just like, oh, why can't we get the fence? But we're working on it. We're working on it. Anything else?
Any other questions before we move on?
Again, I want to thank you for inviting me. If I didn't respond to the email right away, it was because I was a victim of Hurricane Ida personally, and I'm still, you know, dealing with the repercussions of 5 feet of water in my basement. So I understand the hardship that people are suffering, and really trying to reach out to the residents. We had about 12 homes that had been damaged substantially because of the hurricane, and it's tough. But again, the county executive came through, and FEMA, with the FEMA information, that's really been invaluable for everyone.
We appreciate you taking the time, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. And
Now
feel free
I'm
to
gonna
stay
catch
on
up
or
with you.
leave, whatever, you know, whatever works for you.
Well, actually, I'm 2 minutes late for the 125th anniversary committee meeting, so I have to say goodnight and leave and move on to my next meeting. So again, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all in the village and eating in our restaurants and shopping in our stores and getting your nails done and coming to the 125th anniversary party on October 10th. See you there.
Thank you.
thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sherry, feel free to interrupt me if George jumps on.
Yeah, I sent him my link because he said his wasn't working. So hopefully it'll work. So.
Okay. So getting right into old business, we took a break from meetings, and if you recall, way back in June, we talked about how we hired a membership director and an administration manager. And now over the summer, Elizabeth has left and we have a new executive assistant. So I just wanted to announce that one more time in case anybody missed that. Nick, who is on the call tonight, is he's waving, is our membership and marketing director. Fabian, who's also our chair of the membership committee, is our chamber administration manager. You're going to be hearing a lot from her about dues very soon. And then finally, our newest member is Alan, who is our executive assistant and responsible for answering emails and, making sure the chamber has a presence and helping the board and the committees stay organized and on top of things. So welcome to our newest member, Alan. Do you want to just say any quick thing about yourself and where you're from? Not to put you on the spot.
Sure. So I live in Ardsley, right across from Village Hall. So in 2020, my job was eliminated. Everyone talks about the great resignation, but I was actually part of the great elimination. But I saw it as a blessing in disguise because I became a dad in 2020. I have a 16-month-old now named Charlotte. So I've been home for all the milestones, walking, saying mama instead of dad first. So I've been home. So I just see it as a blessing in disguise. Fortunate enough to come across the executive assistant posting. I reached out to Elizabeth and Michelle, and here I am working for the chamber. I feel like it would be a good fit for like what I have in mind for my potential next opportunity. So thank you, Michelle, for hiring me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have you. And Alan still is very active in Ardsley on committees and things. So he totally gets the volunteer mentality that we have here. So welcome. So Dina, no, we're not touching on any budget stuff. So if you have to go, I know you just sent me a direct message and that's totally fine. So moving on to, I just wanted to touch on, because it keeps coming up in emails and we've got some other projects that are going on. I just want to recap for everybody how we manage the chamber's social media. The chamber has a Facebook account, an Instagram account, and soon to be a TikTok account. What the chamber does is we have a social media person who was Rosie, an intern from Mercy College a few years ago, and we've been lucky to have stay on and help us out.
Okay, the county executive just came on, I'm sorry. So
Okay, yeah, let me take a break from this and give him a chance to speak if he's ready.
Yes, I'm here if you can hear me.
We can hear you. Take it away.
Very good. Well, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of conversation. I promise I'll be brief. I usually come in and just give you an update quickly on COVID, and the news is pretty good right now. We're seeing, after the Delta variant explosion that we had at the end of June, early July, and everybody was very concerned that we were going to go up to another maximum peak. We're not seeing that happen in the last 3 weeks now. The numbers have flattened, and we're actually decreasing in the number of active cases, and we're decreasing in the number of hospitalizations. In mid-August, we were about 110 people hospitalized. We're down around 60 now, which is obviously progress. And we also have the total number of cases right around 2,000, where we were about 2,800. So that's all good. We're not seeing any likelihood at all from a business standpoint of going back to the bad old days of reduction of industries or reduction of number of people where they are. We've also had a really good success factor in Westchester in vaccinations. And I don't, as a government leader, I don't take personal credit for all this stuff. We have a very intelligent county. People are very motivated on their own. And we have over 85% of Westchester residents, 18 and over, adults that have been at least vaccinated the first time and waiting their second shot. And that's about 725,000 people out of the county. That's a lot. Now, we're all waiting to find out whether or not there's going to be broad-based requirements for the third shot. And when that happens, the county will shift over at the county center and our clinics to provide the third shot. Right now, it's Pfizer, not yet Moderna, and a lot of our folks were shot with Moderna and J&J. But, we're keeping an eye on that because that's really the question of what we're going to face as we go into the Halloween season, if you're a retailer, or the Christmas shopping season. Will we have activity out there? Will people feel comfortable going out and shopping and putting money into the economy? Will they go out and restaurant and all those things? We're still, in this time of September, still enjoying some pretty nice weather outside. We haven't hit the wall yet. We'll probably get through a fair bit of October. But as the weather does get colder, we go back inside. We're watching to see what happens with that. And we'll go from there. Shari, obviously, who's with us, has done a brilliant job of keeping on tabs to helping the chambers themselves, your chamber and other chambers, with financial assistance. And then what we're going to do to help businesses themselves will depend on what the state and the feds are doing. A year ago, some of that money wasn't there in grant form. We did some grant work. This year, we're going to complement whatever the state and the feds do with some granting. And we're going to focus on some not-for-profits as well, because they too are employers and they're too part of our economic structure. And then the final thing I just want to mention, I'm going as fast as a New Yorker generally goes in these things. We're getting ready for the county budget for 2022. It'll be presented to the legislature in mid-November, and then it'll be adopted by mid-December. Right now, all accounts look like we'll be able to cut county property taxes for a third straight year. Now, the amount of cut isn't dramatic. It's a little bit, but three years of a cut is better than 3 years of an increase. And depending on, if you think about your home, if you pay $20,000 in property taxes, you're probably paying about 13 or 14 to your school district, and then about 3,000 each to the county in one part, and the other 3,000 to the town, village, city, wherever you live. So cutting that 3,000 number down a little bit isn't a dramatic impact, but it's what we control, and so we're trying to do our best to do that. So we think if we can show, continued property tax reduction, if we can show sort of a stabilized economy, we give you the best possible climate in which to do the business you do. So that's my 100 miles an hour update.
Thank you very much. Do you have a minute if anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I'm happy to take any questions as you see fit, and then cut me off as you see fit.
Anybody have any questions for the county executive? I don't see anyone raising their hands. So you did it.
I think I put everybody to sleep with that.
Now
I'm
you
sorry.
missed, George,
No,
you
you
missed
covered
the
it well.
fanfare. Well, you missed everybody praising you before you got on the call. So
Yeah.
there was a whole big love affair
Well.
before you got on the call.
I have a question.
Well,
I'll
that's
fill
very
you
nice
in
of you.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question.
Directed all at Shari. I'm just the front man. Directed all to Shari.
I got my fair share too. It was all good. It was all good.
Good.
We'll talk about it
Well,
tomorrow.
guys, then
when
I
you do
won't
the
take up
community
any-
walk.
Well, no, somebody has a question.
Okay.
We do have one.
Yes, are there any regulations for businesses as far as COVID? Any new news or anything that we should be looking out for or posting in our businesses?
Right now, we're still dealing with only New York City has imposed any kind of a vaccination requirement. It does not appear to be coming down from the state. Now, anything can change, but the climate right now is not yet that the state looks like they will make any of those requirements. As county executive, I don't have the authority to do that in the general population. The mayor of New York does, because the mayor of New York has unique powers given the nature of the city. But having to have a vaccination card to do this or that, excuse me, is not likely to be a requirement in the short term. What happens will also depend when we go indoors. Do we see the things start to spike up again? So you can never say never, but the way it looks at this point, I don't see any of those kind of mandates coming down the pike. The Delta variant is waning. Our vaccination rates are pretty high. We're ready for the additional vaccinations, which, if they come, should make us more resistant to the disease, and that should put us, I think, in a pretty good place.
Great. Thank you so much. Last chance for questions.
Okay.
I don't think we have any more questions for you, but thank you so much
Great.
for always taking the time to come on here and spend time with us. I know you visit with a lot of chambers and obviously other organizations, so we appreciate it.
And we appreciate what you do, because really that's one of the reasons why we want to support local chambers. The marketing work you do, bringing merchants together, business people together, is really essential. We couldn't have the small business success without you and other groups like you. So thanks for letting me jump in. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye. Thanks, Sherry.
Okay, so jumping back to the chamber social media topic that I was touching on, just to give everybody a little background on how we support members specifically. That obviously we use the chamber social media to promote chamber things, but on Facebook specifically, there's a chamber member forum that people can join, and we even kind of did some breakout groups for each village that you can join and make as active as you like as members. And then on Instagram, the way that we really support members is if you make a post on your Instagram or a story and you tag the chamber in it so that the chamber is able just to hit reshare in stories. Rosie is on there pretty frequently, you know, interacting, commenting, things like that. And that's one of the things she does, is she just shares posts, you know, that businesses tag us in. And if you've noticed, the chamber Instagram is really, the parlor and the cookery are really good at tagging the chamber. And so they're on there all the time. So all it takes is, if you're going to do a post, tag the chamber. She will see it and she will share it. So I just wanted to reiterate that and put that out there. Moving on to new business, the first item kind of relates to this. We created a community calendar on the chamber website. This is a brand new thing. There's only probably 2 events on there so far. We haven't really made a big announcement about it yet. We just sent out, you know, a thing about it in the current chamber newsletter. But if you are a member, you can fill out the form online. It gets approved on the back end, and it gets posted to the website. And villages, community organizations like the schools, if they want to share events, they're welcome to do that on here. It's the best way to go about it is the person who's organizing the event should be the one filling out the form, giving the contact information. There's the option to put a photograph, which I recommend. It just is attractive and, you know, a nice feature that you're able to do. So I would, and I think Alan, you put it in the chat. So if you click on that link, you'll see that it takes you to the current event. And as we get more events, there'll be, you know, ways to make this a little bit more searchable. And then you add an event by actually, you have to click on events, the tab at the top, and hit submit an event. And maybe that's a feature we can talk to our webmaster about. Maybe we can have like a little button right on the page where you can click add an event. But you'll see Village of Ardsley already's got their stuff up here. And then live music night from, you know, I threw my event at my restaurant up there just to play around and see how it came out. And it was very easy.
I'm excited about that event.
Both, right? I'm excited about Touch a Truck. I don't live in Ardsley, but I want to bring my 8-year-old to the carnival and the Touch a Truck. So this is really exciting. I mean, this is something that could be very useful. We intend to use the events that are on here in the future in different ways, like maybe emails and sharing them in different ways. This is really the first step of a bigger membership plan of promoting, cross-promoting with other villages and businesses. But this is like the first step in trying to kind of get all of that information that we get from people and get it on something physical on our website that's lives there, that other people can see and that we can pull from to constantly share and talk about. So please add your events, fill it out.
May I ask a question? And Ellen's not, this is Joanna, and I am here representing Ellen because she had previously, I guess, added a lot of events to the Google Calendar and is wondering whether or not all of those have to be resubmitted or if they will be auto transferred. What's happening to those
The Google Calendar is an internal calendar. So that's like if the chamber was to plan something, that's where, you know, we would put that in there and we can plan it around other things that are happening. Any events that are on there that are like a village sponsored event, the village or whoever's planning it, if it's recreation, if it's Barb, they should really, we should share this calendar with them and they should be the ones to input the information. We want whoever is planning the actual event to be the person putting this information in. So it's accurate and it's correct and it's represented the way, you know, the village would want it represented publicly. The Google Calendar isn't a public calendar, it's just internal. And that also helps, you know, previously would help like Elizabeth, you know what she could put in emails and things like that. And we can certainly continue to use it for that purpose. But the community calendar is really, it's a public calendar. And whoever owns the event should be the one inputting the information on there.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Another question? Any other questions about the community calendar? No? Yes.
I was wondering if there is event criteria, meaning hypothetically speaking, could just, you know, different businesses in town essentially use it as a marketing tool, or is there going to be very strict criteria for what qualifies?
No, it's for members only. So no businesses that aren't members, they won't be able to post events on there. But if a business has, you know, happy hour every, you know, Friday from whatever time, and they want to promote that, they could certainly put it on there. You know, it's not like a calendar where you're going to have to go like, you know, you're looking at a physical calendar and you only see like a few words of everything. Like you can tell from it, it's really pretty pictures and it's the most, you know, current events, which is generally when you're looking for something to do, you're not like necessarily planning that far in advance. You're looking at what's coming up this weekend, or, you know, what might be going on in the Rivertowns on Thursday night when I want to go out with some friends or whatever it is. So it's totally fine if businesses want to share a lot of different information. Obviously, you know, it's a new thing and that might change if, you know, if it becomes really popular, but for now, please just share as much as you like. Thanks for asking that question, Nick.
Of course.
So next item on new business is I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware that we now have all of the Hurricane Ida recovery resources that have been sent to us are living on the chamber website on that resource page. And Alan just put the link in the chat there. So if you were affected by it and, you know, you've been seeing these emails fly around by the county or by us, we've tried to consolidate all that information onto the website. So it's easy to access all of it. Third item is we at our board meeting this month talked about ways that we could support businesses during the holiday season. Obviously, we're not going to do an in-person trolley event like we have done in the past, but what could we do to support them? What could we do to promote them? Does it need to be, you know, something involved like a raffle or that kind of thing? Is it just getting their information out there in a variety of ways, just doing, you know, the work behind the scenes to kind of help market them? So if anybody has any input on shopping local during the holiday season, if anybody would like to get together and kind of head this up, please send an email to the chamber email, which is the info@rivertownschamber.com. And we'll kind of take note of that and have a discussion on, you know, what we might do for the holidays and who might take charge of that. Moving on to, sorry, was there a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I know that I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Rye or Pelham, but one of them did a scavenger hunt where, I mean, it was a real simple, you know, thing. And the participating businesses put like a snowflake in their window or whatever. So you would know that, and it was all, you had to physically go and take a walk through the town and go to the place, but it didn't have to all be at the same time. So it wasn't like masses of people were coming. It was like over the course of the weekend, and the kids got a little thing to fill out. And when it was filled out, they could redeem that for a prize, whether it was an ice cream cone or, whatever it was, something like that. But it was specifically designed, and then people would take pictures and hashtag it and put it up on Instagram with whatever, snowflake, whatever it was called. But so something like that might be a.
And one thing that was recommended, I feel like it was you, Connie, that recommended this, is maybe taking that one step further and maybe doing some sort of fundraising to purchase some gift certificates or prizes or things from the actual businesses, and entering people into a raffle if they have a receipt for a certain amount. So like Dobbs Ferry does with parking, if you bring in, I think it's like a $50 receipt or something, you get this like parking credit for the meters. Something like that, where we're actually spending money at the businesses, encouraging other people to spend money at the businesses very directly. There's other, there's ideas floating around, but it's going to take, maybe a few people coming together and kind of fleshing out this idea. Obviously, this is why we have staff to help support the ideas. We just need, members to get together and say, this is what we think we should do. And, the staff can certainly help us, support us in executing that.
Yeah, in a similar vein, something that I had been workshopping just in my head was an idea for a punch card system, almost like, when you get a loyalty card, 10 punches, you get something free, except, having it be a chamber punch card. So if you go to multiple businesses or that are a part of the chamber, you get like a different punch from each of them. Maybe everyone has a unique punch, something along those lines. And that way you could support people going to multiple chamber businesses instead of just one. And of course, they would need to spend money to get a punch.
All right, so please reach out. Let's pull something together for the holidays. It doesn't have to be big and bold, but we definitely, there was consensus that we would like to do something to support the businesses, or at the very least our member businesses for the holidays. Moving on to updates and news from the board. I always have given you all of my stuff, an old and new business. So that's my report. I will just touch briefly, since Dina is not able to be here. We did go over the budget in our board meeting, and we did get an additional grant from the county. So we're currently kind of taking a look at the budget again and figuring out how, we want to allocate that money for the rest of the year. Dina and I already did kind of a first pass at it. And, where we are with dues and with grant money, there could certainly be more income coming in to support a lot of the things that we want to do, like bringing on a TikTok intern and really dive into that project. So you'll hear from membership, or you'll hear a little bit about membership when they give their report, how money might come in that way with new members, how we're trying to promote that. Also events, women's networking, if we do any other events before the end of the year, getting sponsorships or selling tickets to it is another way that the chamber can generate income. Moving on to committees, why don't we start with, I don't think Fabian is here, right? And do you have a report, Alan? If not, I think Nick can probably speak to a little bit of what's going on with membership.
Did not receive a report, and neither did Kate.
Nick, do you want to touch on the
Sure.
flyer projects and anything else?
So I think our latest project that me and Fabian have been working on together is we're trying to gain more support for the newsletter, or the chamber. I think newsletter suffices. I actually have one of the flyers right here. Mailing list, that's the other way to call it. So one of our projects is we are trying to get support with businesses that are a part of the chamber, putting one of these in their in their business, in their window, if they have a storefront. Or we have a digital flyer that people can use and post on their stories, something along those lines. The idea is that we want to gain traction with the mailing list, and then have weekly raffles for new members that join the mailing list. And so we're going to keep track of who is new, and we're hoping to then raffle off, similar to some of the other things that we had discussed, raffle off gift cards and whatnot for such events.
I'm muted. So that is, that's the big exciting thing, is that we purchased gift certificates from local businesses that are members specifically, and we'll be giving them out to people who join this email list. And it's not meant to be an email list for businesses to join. It's meant to be for residents. This is another piece of that cross promotion that I was talking about.
Totally.
And being able to get to a point where the email list is robust enough that we could start to share members, events, or promotions that are coming up, and get it out to a broader audience than just maybe their customer email list that they've compiled. And the
truth is that, you know, really it's the people in the towns that benefit most from being on the mailing list. I mean, if you're a business, I think you are a little less concerned with shopping at other businesses or knowing about events in the sense that, you know, you would be if you were a consumer going to these different places and events. So it's really good resource for people to join and be a part of. And so I would highly recommend either joining if you're not on it, or recommending it to someone, especially if you know someone new to town and they want to get involved, anything along those lines. It's a really great resource. And once again, I'm happy to bring one of these by a business or even give you a digital copy. So please reach out to me, and I'll make that happen.
Will you put your specific email in the chat, Nick? And then Kate, maybe we can put that in the minutes too, if anybody takes a look at this after the fact. And I think you spoke to also the other gift card raffle program is actually for physically getting members. We are going to have some material that you can take to businesses in the town, but basically it's another kind of QR code where you can go to your neighbor and say, your business neighbor, and say, I think you should join the chamber. Here's why. Here's a QR code. You can put in your information on your phone, and if they join, you each get a $25 gift card. There is no raffle component. You each just get, you know, a $25 gift card to somewhere in the river towns, to another business in the river towns. So we're trying to incentivize and do a big push before the end of the year. And then one other thing, I think we have been trying to find a TikTok intern for like several months now. And we thought we were almost there. We thought we had somebody at Mercy College, but it turns out they're going to be too busy for the position. So it's still open, and we still really want to dive into TikTok, to getting the chamber and businesses on TikTok, because it's kind of that next social media piece. And Nick is showing you the this little business card is for getting members to join for businesses. And I'm going to be writing a letter that we can staple to that, you know, is a short kind of like pitching the chamber and why you should join to help you out. Moving on from membership, minority owned businesses. I don't think anybody is on the call from that.
No.
And if you'll just briefly recall, we did a program with TAP where some people were awarded some sessions with TAP, and that's in progress. That's currently happening. And so I'm sure we'll get a recap on it, and the committee will decide if that's something they would want to pursue for another round in the future. Tourism, same thing. They're very much in research mode this year. The county is doing a big tourism push. And so I know that they want to kind of tag along to what the county is doing, and making sure that you know, our businesses are represented in whatever the county is doing. Women in business. I'll give the chair is here. I'll stop talking and you can talk.
You can take a drink. Very excited to announce we're going to have a program on October 19th. Gentlemen, I'm sorry you're not invited. It's going to be awesome. We have Kendra Porter, who actually recently spoke at Broad River program she's a fabulous stylist and recently styled all the NBC folks for the Olympics. But for us, she's going to be working on what's your business journey story, basically in a minute or less, and then figure out how to develop that with your style, then how to prepare for media appearances and things like that, and social media or regular media. So within that format, we will also be networking and socializing. And then we're going to have a committee meeting in November, and we're going to have our next Women in Business social in December. talking about nutrition and the holidays and just fun stuff. And again, always the networking component is integral to really understanding who are all the businesses in the river towns. And if you're a member, you get a certain price. And if you're not a member, we're hoping to attract people to the Rivertown businesses also. So hopefully there'll be a lot of people attending who are not in the Rivertown currently.
Great, thank you. Village reps, Ardsley. I know we've talked a lot about Ardsley tonight. I don't think, is there anything else, Connie, that you might want to add?
No, other than, I've restarted connecting with all of our community groups, and, as soon as I have information, I'll share it with Alan and the group. And that's it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dobbs Ferry.
Kristen James sent me an email. She said there's a public hearing about the new cannabis law that will discuss what the village plans to do. I'll put a link in the chat. That was her report.
Okay. I think this has come up in a couple other villages and maybe not others so far. And I think it's a decision has to be made, correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry, by November. Like they have to opt out by November, otherwise they're automatically opted in.
Yeah, you're automatically opted in unless you opt out. And so this has been discussed everywhere. I think Ardsley did decide to opt out, right?
I believe you're right.
I would bet that Hastings will opt in. They're discussing it in Tarrytown. But yeah, the municipality has to actively opt out. And we all have our opinions on it. I certainly have a strong opinion on it. And I was quoted in the Enterprise on it. I did speak up at the last public hearing. And I believe it's an economic issue. So I'll just leave that there. But it is in all the municipalities where I've been a part of a discussion where this has come up, most of the boards or the councils or whatever, they very much are listening to what the community is saying to them. So it is important to speak up because just like if you make a call to, Mondaire Jones's office, they tally everything and they want to see where it's going. And usually, at every meeting for every issue, the people who want to complain are always the loudest. It's why you always read more bad reviews than good reviews. It's just the way that it is. So there is a public hearing. The mayor was disappointed that there was so few people at the last one. It was on Zoom and there were some people in the room, but basically 3 of 4 of us spoke up and that was it. So they would welcome the feedback.
So the information, the link is in the chat. If you're a Dobbs Ferry business, you should definitely try to join. If you send a letter in before, I think it's I want to say it's Monday at 2 o'clock or something, to Liz Draper. If you look up on the village website, she will share it with the board, and the board will be able to read that letter before the meeting as well. Hastings, is Joanna still on? Do you want to? Anything specific about Hastings you want to share?
Specifically, well, I guess a question just coming off of that event calendar. Do you want us to highlight any upcoming events in these updates, given that we're going to be now contributing to this community calendar?
Yeah, I mean, as with any kind of marketing thing, we want to share these events in as many channels as possible. So definitely, as reps, sharing it in the meeting is great, but the community calendar specifically just, has a lot of really public, easy to access information. So, that's why that one area would be great if, whoever owns the event, takes ownership in that specific place. And also, these are volunteer positions, so we don't necessarily want to saddle all the reps with, another task of inputting all this information on behalf of the village or whoever.
Okay, so we have had a number of really successful, wonderful outdoor events in Hastings through the summer. one of the more recent ones being South by Southside, the third one of the year on September 18th. We also had the first community acupuncture pop-up hosted by North Space with proceeds dedicated to their meal train program outdoors. People have really gotten creative over the last year and a half with how they're trying to interact with the community and bring their business outdoors. One of the biggest or more prominent events coming up is the Battle of Edgar's Lane Family Fun Weekend on this coming weekend, October 2nd. It'll feature various activities, tours, food, music, and storytelling in Zinsser Park. And downtown businesses have been invited to participate, selling food, beverages, and other period items as appropriate. If you weren't aware of this and you're a Hastings business owner, you can still get involved. I can share the contact info with you for Eileen Charles, who is spearheading everything. On Saturday, October 16th, Hastings Fire Department will host a Meet the Fleet event in the Circle at the Good Witch, offering complimentary coffee and treats to visitors. There'll be an EMT station where they'll be taking people's blood pressure, talking about what they do, letting kids touch the truck, and basically also seeking some volunteers. Hopefully they will get some. Amanda Kupla's Dance Studio and the Good Witch Coffee Bar have teamed up to create a swing night event on October 23rd, which will feature wine dining and swing dancing in the Circle with swing dancing instruction for an hour, and then live music by Vince Giordano and the Mini Hawks, which will be coming up from Manhattan. The Recreation Department is in the process of coordinating a series of micro Halloween festivities for the village, which will include a trunk or treat in the train station parking lot, a spooky drive-in movie, and the annual window painting downtown. To date, there's been no confirmation on whether or not the annual Ragamuffin Parade will take place. For the same reasons as have been discussed earlier in the meeting, they're just weighing whether or not it's safe to do so with so many kids congregated in one spot. I suggested having it occur in stages, but no one responded to that idea. So let's see. In addition to that, we have had some downtown openings, which is pretty exciting. The Home Market on Spring Street celebrated its grand opening just after Labor Day and has been offering a steady supply of vintage decor, handicrafts, and intimate classes since. Little House just opened this past weekend in the space next to Penny Lick. The owner, Danielle, is a Rivertown's mom. She is offering home goods, children's decor, and women's clothing. It's gorgeous. It's a great addition to the area. The new owner of the former mill space, Dan Sprague, submitted designs to the board for renovation approval this summer. They're going to install a really nice garden and rooftop area. There's no immediate plan to open or rent the ground floor until they are a little bit clear on legal requirements, because I think they'd like it to be a pub strictly and don't want to have to deal with food. And that is all I've got.
Lots going on in Hastings. Did you get all that, Kate? I think you did. Okay. Well,
I have it printed up if you want me to just see.
Yeah, go ahead and send that to Kate and make it easier for her. Thank you. I know Hastings is always just so busy. It's great. Irvington, anyone from Irvington?
I didn't receive anything from Irvington.
Okay. Moving on then to our new member welcome. I think they're both still on here. I know Jerson spoke a little bit at the beginning, but two new members this month, or over the summer, I should say, James Sears with Sears Advisory Group and Jerson with Crespo Whiskey and Wines. We like to just give you guys a couple minutes to introduce yourself when you're a new member and, share if there's any, news or fun things coming up that you want to let us know about. This is your time to shine. So anybody, James, do you want to speak at all or?
Sure. Yeah, it's good to see everyone. I was a member a couple years back. We are financial advisors handling investment management and financial planning for individuals and local business owners. My mother's a financial advisor as well. We worked at it was our Edward Jones office on Main Street in Irvington, right by what used to be El Cerriso, now the Steakhouse. We started our own practice, so we are still in Irvington, but now officially Sears Advisory Group. I also volunteer. I coach lacrosse at Irvington High School, very active with the Midnight Run at Dobbs Ferry. And now that I am back in Irvington, very excited to be part of the chamber. So good to see everyone. I'm looking forward to meeting y'all in person at some point.
Welcome. Jerusam, do you have anything else you want to, and I should say also, this applies to everybody, but if you want to put your information in the chat, we do share the chat, you know, and the minutes and the recording from the meeting afterwards, you know, after the event. So put your information in the chat. Jerusam, anything else you want to?
Well, for those that didn't meet me, I was at the last meeting, and I'm new to the chamber. New small business. My business is going to be whiskeys and wine, concentrating on craft, small distill whiskeys. You know, just excited. Very grateful for being part of this chamber. They helped me a lot to get to where I am, believe it or not. And it's been a long journey, but now we're like maybe like 3 weeks away from opening up. Been like a year in the making. Everything's ready to go, and super excited to be part of the community, help out with whatever way I can. There's so much to learn. I'm by myself, trying to figure all of this out, but I have a good team. Everybody's been helpful. A lot of the businesses around here, the Climate Wolf and some of the other guys have, you know, opened their doors and helped me with whatever questions I've had. And it's been very nice, man. I love this town, and I'm super excited for the new, you know, my new venture. You know, I also lost, like Alan said, I was part of that group that lost their job during COVID, and I had to kind of pivot and figure out what I wanted to do. And I kind of just wanted to bet on myself and you know, give it a chance. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and try something else. And you know, liquor, people drink when they're sad and people drink when they're happy. So like it sells itself. So, you know, but I have a different concept. This is not like your typical liquor store. It's not going to be like crowded or overwhelming with liquor. It's kind of like has a vintage, nice, very, you know, very intimate setting. You know, the whole style of it and everything. I'm gonna be selling nice books like whiskeys and cocktail books and things like that, and nice drinks and spirits that you probably can't find in other places, you know. So super excited, a lot to learn, and trying to just take it a day at a time. And thank you guys for everything you've done, you know, Michelle, you know, and everybody that's been there from day one for me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome, and we look forward to helping with a ribbon cutting if you want to do
And
one.
a chamber bourbon tasting. I'm down for that.
She's already planning the
I'll be
event.
at the ribbon cutting also, but I'm just saying. The bourbon
Yes,
tasting would be nice. Yeah.
Everybody's welcome.
All right, so and last but not least, this is our opportunity to any community news that maybe we forgot about, didn't get reported on. Now's your time to speak up and share it, so it's in the minutes. Anybody? I think we covered a lot. It's our first meeting back.
I did have one thing, and I put it on our Facebook page, but there's a huge countywide organizational effort to collect clothing and other things for Afghan refugees. So if you haven't seen it, it's up on, I posted it on all the Facebook pages of the river towns, but also the chambers. So if you, and I know a lot of the churches and synagogues are involved in the JCCs and community centers. So if you have a chance to see, you can also donate through Amazon.
Great. Anything else? Going once? Okay. So we'll, oh, Pam, I see your hand is raised.
Hi. How do I used to have a listing on the chamber site. I don't now. Who do I get in contact to get that going again?
Yeah, Alan's raising his hand. You can just email the info at address. It's actually, we'll put you in touch with Fabian, who's now kind of in charge of that whole member process. But just shoot an email to Alan, info@rivertownschamber.com, and we'll get you set up.
Oh, is Alan's address in the chat?
He's just put it in there. It's the main chamber email address too, so you can find it on the website, but he just put it in the chat. Do you see it?
I'll look. Thank you.
Yeah. And anybody else that's not on the website, just like get in contact. We want all of the members on the website. It's just up to you to send us the content that needs to go up there. Any other community news or questions? Okay, let's adjourn this meeting at 8:18. Hopefully we'll see you at the Women's Networking and at next month's meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Be
Take
safe.
care, everyone. Have a good night.
Be well, take care. Bye.